Yuuto is a lonely nerd who spends his days doing sus things until a cat girl arrives in his life and promises to protect the loser from demons. However, instead of fighting the demons, he keeps on rizzing them up, increasing the number of demon girls in his harem. It is early morning. Rinko comes to Yuuto's house so they can go to school together, but seeing him still sound asleep makes her annoyed. She climbs on top of him in order to wake him up, but the cultured guy takes advantage and starts doing Riz things with her. Rinko takes her revenge by throwing a cat in his mouth. Yuuto, who has a cat allergy, couldn't handle it and instantly woke up. On their way to school, Rinko reminds him that it is his birthday today, but he doesn't look very happy about it. Turns out, his parents got ice skate on his birthday. However, it has been 7 years, and he has gotten over it. While he is showing his good luck charm to Rinko, another girl named Himari interrupts their talk and starts being a weirdo. Rinko saves Yuuto by taking him away from her. During class, Yuuto is still thinking about the experience with the strange girl he had earlier. Rinko notices him daydreaming about Himari and gets mad. It is lunchtime, and Yuuto's friend Teizo invites him to the cafeteria, but Rinko seems mad and takes Yuuto to the rooftop. Meanwhile, an evil energy takes over Teizo and starts controlling him. At the rooftop, Rinko asks him about Himari and makes sure she isn't his secret fiancé. She tells Yuuto that his tiny mind doesn't remember much about his childhood anyway, and it is possible that his grandmother and grandfather arranged a girl for him. Their love quarrel is interrupted by Teizo, who joins them on the rooftop, but something seems different about him. He creates an energy ball and fires at Yuuto. Fortunately, he manages to dodge the attack, but Teizo starts to transform into a different creature. Suddenly, Himari arrives with a sword. She claims to draw her blade against Ayakashi only and rush towards Teizo to defeat him. A spider-like insect comes out of Teizo's body and tries to attack Himari. However, Himari manages to stab and put an end to it. She runs away afterward, leaving the two of them confused. At night, before going to bed, Yuuto thinks about all the events that happened today. To his surprise, he finds Himari on his bed. She takes off his shirt and tells him that the charm he is wearing is charged with self-defense. It was the charm his grandmother gave to him. Unfortunately, it had lost its effectiveness, and because of this, he has been an easier target for Ayakashi, similar to one that attacked him using Teizo's body. Himari reassures him and tells him that she will be the one who will protect her from now on, as he is her master. She reveals that she is a cat girl, making Yuuto excited and sick at the same time due to his allergy. Simultaneously, Rinko arrives in his room to discuss what happened and witnesses a girl on top of him. She loses her mind and gives the cultured guy a beating. The next day, his homeroom teacher introduces Himari as a new student. She comes and sits next to Yuuto, promising to protect him. Rinko, seeing all this happen, is getting more and more angry. Later, Himari informs Yuuto that his house, the Amikawa family, is one of the 12 demon slayer houses in charge of protecting the world from Ayakashi. She tells him that many demon slayers used to eliminate the Ayakashi. They were like non-living creatures, so the demon slayers thought they could target whenever they wanted. Surprisingly, there was a guy in the Amikawa family who refused to eliminate the Ayakashi and chose to let them go. His betrayal led to Himari making a vow to protect Yuuto from all the danger regarding Ayakashi. Himari starts clinging to Yuuto, but Rinko separates them and tells Himari that she has been taking care of the baby boy since his parents passed away. Himari counters her claim by telling her that the Ayakashi are targeting Yuuto, and she doesn't possess the powers to save him from them. Rinko's jealousy just keeps on rising, and the next day at school, she challenges Himari to find out who is better suited to protect Yuuto. Yuuto tries to stop them, but Himari accepts the challenge. The first battle is a simple 100-meter race. At the start, Rinko is happy as it seems that she will win, but Himari passes her in an instant, eventually winning the race. Himari beat Rinko in pole jump, sword fight, judo, and tennis. Losing all the battles makes Rinko frustrated, and she ends up calling Himari a monster in front of everyone. Yuuto goes after Himari to comfort her. At the rooftop, he asks Himari to forgive Rinko as she didn't really mean it. Himari forgives her but asks Yuuto if he feels uncomfortable being followed by an Ayakashi like Himari. Little did she know that the loner was actually happy to have a girl talk to him. However, he informs her that he is well aware of her feelings and knows that she just wants to protect him and doesn't have any ulterior motive. Himari gets happy and jumps on top of him. An Ayakashi being on top of him remains Yuuto of the past, but he couldn't remember everything. The next day, Rinko comes to Yuuto's house in order to apologize for what she did yesterday. As soon as he opens the door, she sees Yuuto and Himari sleeping together on the same bed. Seeing what is happening in her absence makes Rinko lose her mind, and the battle once again begins. At this point, she slowly starts getting used to it. The next day, Rinko, Yuuto, and Himari are sitting together. Teizo comes and invites them to a beach party. They all agree to go with him, especially Yuuto, who realized what his best friend is trying to accomplish. While walking back home, Himari tells Yuuto that she doesn't own any swimsuits and asks him to go shopping with her. After promising them to go out shopping together, Himari leaves and Yuuto experiences a sudden rain shower. This is not the only strange thing as a girl walks past him, telling him to forget everything or he ends up being eliminated. Afterward, Yuuto along with Rinko and Himari goes shopping. Himari takes her sword along and tells Rinko that it is important for her to carry it as she never knows when the Ayakashi might attack. At the swimsuit shop, Himari loudly asks Yuuto the type of swimsuit he likes, embarrassing him in front of everyone present. Rinko starts examining Himari's talents and tries to figure out how a cat is beating her in that field. Later, Himari tries on a bunch of swimsuits showing each and every one of them to Yuuto. She realizes that Yuuto seems flushed after seeing the last one and decides to purchase it. Himari notices that she is the only weirdo wearing Japanese cultural clothes while all the other girls are dressed normally. She asks Yuuto about it and he takes her to buy some summer clothing. After choosing the one with Riz, he asks Himari to go and change. Luckily, Himari takes him into the dressing room with her and asks him for help as she never has worn anything except for a yukata. She keeps on trying to pressure Yuuto until he realizes that she wears a school uniform and her first time wearing Western clothing is a lie. Soon after, she changes into the clothes Yuuto picked. Yuuto asks her if she wants to buy any more stuff. Himari tries to rizz up Yuuto by telling him that this is the only one she will buy as Yuuto chose this for her. Some days later, all of them finally went to the beach. Teizo asks Yuuto the reason they came to the beach. Yuuto, being an innocent boy, doesn't give it much thought and gives him a vague reply. Teizo tells him that it is so they can stare at girls wearing swimsuits and have a good time. Poor guy gets drop-kicked by Rinko before he can even fully express his desires. Another Ayakashi called Shizuku is here and her mission is to eliminate Yuuto. She is present at the beach as well and is busy stalking Yuuto and the others while stuffing shaved ice cream. Yuuto and Rinko invite Himari to swim, but he declines the offer. Rinko realizes this and mocks Himari for being afraid of water, considering she is a cat. Rinko lends a floating toy to Himari so she can enjoy the ocean as well. Rinko takes full advantage of the alone time she has with Yuuto. First of all, she makes him call her cute, and while playing in the ocean, she purposely hugs Yuuto. While Yuuto is busy playing with the girls, Teizo uses him as bait and enjoys the view of girls in swimsuits. Rinko soon realizes his plans and drowns him in the ocean. Later, Yuuto goes to check on Himari when suddenly a giant wave comes at them, throwing both of them underwater. Yuuto manages to save Himari and bring her above water. Suddenly, tentacles emerge from the ocean and wrap the bodies of both Himari and Yuuto. The tentacles take both of them someplace else. Yuuto loses consciousness and after waking up, he finds Shizuki standing in front of him. She lets him know that if they let Yuuto live, he might awaken as a demon slayer and go after the Ayakashi in order to save humankind. She tells him about how her whole family was eliminated by the demon slayers a century ago. Just as she is about to eliminate Yuuto, Himari arrives. Shizuki calls Himari a traitor and the battle begins. Shizuku brings out a monster that restrains Himari using its tentacles. Shizuku tried to drown her but surrounded her with water. Seeing how helpless Himari is, Yuuto decides to take action and runs towards her, trying his best to loosen the grip of the tentacles. Seeing a demon slayer helping an Ayakashi surprises Shizuku while Himari realizes a loophole in her ability and purposefully stabs herself. This makes Shizuku's ability disappear, and Himari successfully cuts down the tentacle monster. Himari found out that Shizuki can only control pure water and any water with impurities is out of her control. But this didn't bother Shizuku in the least. As they were present at the beach, there was a ton of clean water for her to use. After realizing the chance of their victory is very slim, Himari tells Yuuto to leave her and run away. However, Yuuto tries to act like a gentleman and tells Himari that if something happened to her while he was away, he could never be happy and would only regret his decision to run away. Both Himari and Shizuku are surprised after hearing Yuuto. Shizuko stops using her ability and contemplates that there must be something wrong with the demon slayers of Amikawa. Shizuku leaves for the time being, giving them a warning to never show their face again. Afterward, several voices question Shizuku regarding her decision to let the demon slayer lie. She simply replies that there is something she wants to confirm before assassinating them. Yuuto is taking a bath and getting excited thinking about Shizuki. Suddenly, Shizuka emerges from his bathtub. Hearing all the commotion makes Rinko and Himari check up on him, just to see him taking a bath with another girl. Himari instantly tries to fight Shizuki, but Yuuto clears the misunderstanding by telling her that he has no intention of fighting Shizuku. Shizuki inquires how he will be able to prove his claim and whether he will be able to take responsibility for all the Ayakashis slain by the demon slayers. However, he tells her that all he wants to do is live with Himari and Rinko. Fighting Ayakashi is the last thing he wants to do. He soon passes out and dreams about his grandparents. After waking up, he finds himself in the living room, fully dressed. Shizuku informs Yuuto that Himari and Rinko enjoyed looking at him while the two of them try their best to deny it. Himari had enough and tells Yuuto to be a realist and fight Shizuku, as she was someone who attacked them first with the intention of eliminating them. However, he tells her not to and starts sneezing. Rinko tells Shizuku that he is allergic to cats. This makes her realize that he must really care about Himari and is living with her despite the fact that he is allergic to cats. Shizuku tells him that she will be finding her own proof by living with them for a while, shocking everyone except for Yuuto, who is excited to have another girl at his house. The next day, Shizuku makes breakfast for all three of them. Everyone enjoys the breakfast while Himari tries to make sure it isn't poison. Himari tries to look like a responsible girl by offering to do the laundry and clean the house, but surprisingly, Shizuku has already taken care of all the things. Seeing how the only thing left to do is shopping, Himari pays a visit to the grocery store. Himari thinks about how she can be a good girl for Yuuto when she only knows how to fight. On her way to the store, she runs into her teacher and she takes Himari to a nearby cafe. The teacher advises Himari to take a part-time job in that cafe. Another student who is already working as a part-timer comes to take their order. Himari instantly recognizes that the other student is also an Ayakashi. Himari takes her teacher's advice and begins working at the maid cafe to earn some extra bucks. Yuuto, along with Rinko and Shizuku, pays her a visit and realizes that the whole cafe is filled with people. More customers started coming to the cafe after Himari started working as a part-timer. Teizo also visits the cafe and Yuuto introduces Shizuku to him. Himari can't control it anymore and hugs Yuuto in front of everyone, making every cultured guy at the cafe jealous of him. The other part-time worker, Lizlet, arrives and tells Himari that she needs to provide equal attention to all the customers. Yuuto apologizes on behalf of Himari, and Lizlet instantly realizes that the boy in front of her is a demon slayer. Himari and Shizuku inform Yuuto that Lizlet is a Western variety of Ayakashi. Seeing how diligently she has been working makes Yuuto contemplate that she must really like her job, whereas Rinko thinks that her cultured childhood friend is staring at the maids. Lizlet also realizes that the creepy boy is staring at her and thinks that the demon slayer might be after her and starts being cautious. The sudden tension makes Lizlet panic, and she starts acting clumsy all of a sudden. Rinko tries to go out by making an excuse, but Shizuku sees through her lies and reveals that she is going to the washroom to take care of number 2. Later, Lizlet brings Yuuto another drink even though he hasn't ordered anything. Shizuku gets suspicious and examines the drink. She finds out that Lizlet had used magic on her drink. She gives the drink to Tazio, and after drinking it, he has a sudden urge to go home. Himari witnessed everything and suddenly attacked Lizlet. She tries to confront Lizlet for making the first move, however. She claims that she only wanted Yuuto to leave. Himari doesn't listen and keeps on attacking her, eventually making Lizlet throw a black powder at her. She manages to dodge the powder, but the customers get enveloped by it, making all of them go home. The fight between Himari and Lizlet commences. She keeps on attacking Himari with black powders, but she keeps on dodging them. Suddenly, a dropkick makes Himari kiss the ground, but she uses this opportunity to try and stab Lizlet. Her sword had no effect on her and only managed to cut her uniform a little. The fight comes to an end when Shizuku reveals that if she really is an Ayakashi of tea, then the magic present in the tea is nothing but a fluke. Himari realizes that Lizlet is a Tsukimomi, an Ayakashi who can control other inanimate objects with souls. They all found out her real body was not the one present in front of her but the teacup sitting on the shelf. Himari accidentally drops the teacup. Scared that dropping the teacup might shatter her soul, Yuuto makes a dive and surprisingly manages to save the teacup from breaking. Afterward, Yuuto tells her that she doesn't seem like a bad person as she's always trying her best to serve the customers and make them happy. Lizlet also shows her gratitude for saving her life and apologizes for making assumptions. In the end, everyone finds out that her reckless behavior was only because she thought that all 4 of them were after her life. After witnessing another situation of Yuuto being nice to Ayakashi, Shizuku's trust in Yuuto is increased and she no longer thinks of him as an enemy. The next day, Yuuto wakes up and finds Shizuku, Rinko, and Himari all dressed up as cat girls trying their best to get on Yuuto's good side. Later, Yuuto wakes up and finds his hands on Himari's talons. He tries to remove her hand, but Himari notices and teases him. However, she is not the only one sleeping with him as Shizuku also emerges. Rinko arrives and witnesses Yuuto sleeping with 2 girls at the same time, making her furious enough to slam Yuuto with a bat. Himari tells Rinko that it is her duty as his bodyguard to always be with him and protect him from everything, whereas Shizuku tells her that it is necessary for her to be close in order to extract information. Himari further added that it was normal for her and Yuuto to indulge in these kinds of activities, and sleeping together is nothing in comparison. Lizlet faints after hearing about it, making Shizuku realize that she is in love with Yuuto after the previous incident. At night, Himari makes up her mind to remind Yuuto of his past and all the time they both had spent together in order to keep the other women away from him. She goes to Yuuto and tells him that they will be visiting the Genjai house in the village of Noihara so that the cat girl can get some attention from Yuuto as well. The next day, all 4 of them arrive at the Noihara village. However, Himari is still annoyed for bringing the 2 of them. She tells Yuuto that he needs to remember his past and recognize himself as a demon slayer. After all, it might let him take Himari's feelings seriously. After arriving at his grandparents' house, Yuuto has a flashback which consists of his grandparents and a white cat. Later, a girl called Kaya arrives and welcomes Himari. She seems very happy to see Himari again. Yuuto tries to talk with Kaya but receives a very ruthless response. It was because Himari had to leave the house and stay with Yuuto instead. Outside the house, there are a few girls sitting on tree branches and stalking them. Their motive is to eliminate Yuuto once and for all. After going inside the house, Himari introduces Yuuto to the shrine of his grandparents and promises them to protect Yuuto at least until he becomes a full-fledged demon slayer. Yuuto is actually seeing the shrines for the first time as he was not able to attend their funerals. Yuuto is chilling on his own when Himari arrives and tells him to remember the past. She gets on top of him and starts doing some sus things to the nerd. Yuuto ends up remembering some of his past memories, which include hanging out with a cat. That cat is none other than Himari herself. The flashback ends with his grandmother telling Yuuto that Himari will be a very important figure in his life. He finally realizes that the cat he used to play with was actually Himari. She is angry at him for realizing this late and leaving her without saying a thing and wants to hug her until she can bring herself to forgive him. Suddenly, one of the girls wanting to assassinate Yuuto arrives. Her name is Ajaha, and before making a move, she is quite surprised seeing them do such Riz things. However, she doesn't let their axe get in the way and attacks them. Himari counterattacks using her sword. Himari warns her and tells her to retreat, but she informs Himari that she only wants to eliminate a demon slayer and improve her status among the other Ayakashi. The battle between them commences, but Himari is taken aback after seeing another Ayakashi join Aja. It is a giant creature called Datarabachi. She tries to fight the 2 of them on her own but fails. Kaya and Shizuku try to go help Himari, but another Ayakashi arrives and challenges them to a fight. She uses tree trunks and tries to crush the tree underneath. On the other hand, Himari is fighting 2 against 1 and trying to protect Yuuto at the same time. She tells Yuuto to run away as he is doing nothing but being a burden. Kaya uses her shield ability to defend herself from the tree trunks while Shizuku tries attacking her. While running away, Yuuto realizes that she is just a big loser and makes up his mind to go and help Himari. The battle between Ajaha and Himari is still going strong. Ajaha seems to be confident that she can defeat Himari easily. The giant creature tries to distract Himari while Ajaha grabs her tail from behind, slamming her on the ground. She tosses her around and finally is about to end it using her sword. Just at the right moment, the loser arrives and puts himself in front of the attack, receiving a huge cut in the result. Himari sees the blood coming out of his body and becomes black for a while. Afterward, she completely loses herself and goes berserk. A black aura took over her body and she went mad. Her power levels also drastically increased, and with a single strike, she managed to defeat the giant creature by cutting his arm off. Her next target was Ajaha. Himari moved forwards, with the intent of putting an end to her. Yuuto tries to stop her from eliminating Ajaha, but she doesn't listen. In the end, Yuuto picks up a tree branch and stops Himari's blade before it strikes Ajaha. The power that came out after this confrontation enveloped the whole forest. Rinko and Shizuku, who have already taken care of the other Ayakashi, witnessed the sudden burst of energy and seemed concerned. Shizuku went to the battlefield and found Himari and Yuuto lying inside a crater unconscious. After a while, Himari wakes up and sees Shizuku taking advantage of the situation and lying on top of Yuuto. Seeing what she was doing to her master enraged her. Shizuku told her that all she was trying to do was heal Yuuto's body as her water has healing ability. Himari remembers how Yuuto protected her and let Shizuko's freaky nature slide. After the whole healing process, Himari checked his body and all the wounds were completely gone. She thanks Shizuku for healing him but quickly takes back her gratitude after Shizuku tells her that she liked it. After going home, Kaya praises Yuuto for his sudden burst of energy that could be seen from the house, but she still preferred it if he had not returned alive. Rinko also arrives and asks Yuuto if he is alright. Later, Himari goes to take a bath in the lake. Yuuto opens a door and sees Sasa, the other Ayakashi that came with Ajaha. She is all tied up, unable to move or speak a word. After the battle, Yuuto realizes that there are all kinds of Ayakashi as Ajaha had no intention of letting him go alive. Afterward, Shizuku tells him about the Demon Slayer families. All the 12 families have special powers. Yuuto's family has a magic called Light Fairy. It is the same ability that Yuuto used, and it gives a stick the same powers as a holy sword. She tells him that his family is the most powerful among the others. However, Yuuto is more curious about his cat girl and asks Shizuku some questions regarding Himari. but Rinko restrains him and advises him to worry about himself a little. Shizuku further tells Yuuto that Himari's ancestors have eliminated humans in the past. Her tribe felt pleasure while taking the lives of others. In the end, Shizuku warns him that if she keeps on fighting like this, she might lose herself and become someone who takes pleasure in eliminating others. She also tells him about a family head who had to eliminate an Ayakashi because of it in the past. After hearing all the dangerous stuff from her, he goes to peek at Himari, who is taking a bath. He gets caught instantly and tries to pass it out as an accident. After she finishes up, Yuuto apologizes for always neglecting her hate towards the other Ayakashi and tells her that he understands her after the previous battle. However, she also apologizes for not being able to protect him and promises to do her best until he becomes a full-fledged demon slayer. Yuuto tells her that all he wants is for her to stay normal and away from the dangerous stuff. Back at the house, Ajaha breaks into the house to retrieve her friends and takes her away. On their way back, Yuuto tells her that he is able to remember some bits of his past, including the time they kissed. To his surprise, Himari tells him that they have never kissed, making him wonder who that girl was. Later, Yuuto starts training since he wants to graduate from being a loser. Shizuku is training him, but he can't seem to land even a single hit on her. Shizuku tells him that it is useless as he only is able to use his powers when he puts himself in a do-or-die situation. Shizuku realizes that the only reason he wants to become stronger is to save the cat girl. For this particular training, Shizuku called Rinko and Lizlet for help. Lizlet goes to Yuuto and complains that he hasn't been coming to the cafe. He starts receiving some extra service from the maid, enraging Rinko, who is witnessing everything. Shizuku informs the others that it is very important for Yuuto to have a clear mind in any and every situation for his magic to work. Lizlet thinks about a few dangerous situations she can put Yuuto in and gets a brilliant idea. Without giving it a second thought, she throws him in the sky. The little wimp starts screaming while he is falling down. Lizlet jumps, trying to catch him, but even in this situation, Yuuto's creep mind never sleeps. He starts inspecting her rewards, making her lose focus. The moment he falls down, Lizlet tries to do everything in her power to make his little man rise. Meanwhile, Shizuku also tries her best to act as freaky as possible, all while the poor nerd is trying his best to keep his mind clear of any Riz thoughts. Rinko witnesses the weird training and tries to join by showing off her talents. Everyone ignores her good-for-nothing Riz and keeps on practicing. Lizlet raises the level and tries to kiss the loser. Just as she was about to succeed, Himari emerged from the bushes. Seeing her mad scares everyone and she takes Yuuto for herself. She starts forcing herself on the nerd, making him sneeze because of his allergies. After a few days, Yuuto realizes that Himari has been completely ignoring what happened at the village and is trying to hide her true feelings. He seems concerned about her, but soon Himari arrives, and they both start walking back home. The pathetic loser is still thinking about the one kiss he got in his childhood instead of worrying about the girl in front of him. Himari tells him that they will be having seafood for dinner. Yuuto, being a cheapskate, tries to avoid it as it is expensive, but she insists. Seeing her smile makes Yuuto realize that he doesn't need to think about a kiss this hard. Their conversation is interrupted by a girl who is sitting on top of a lamp pole. Himari instantly recognizes her, but Yuuto has no idea who she is. The girl attacks Himari without saying anything. Luckily, she manages to dodge the attack and slashes the pole she is sitting on. The girl seems unscathed as well. She informs Yuuto that she isn't an Ayakashi but a demon slayer similar to him. The demon slayer introduces herself as Kyusu, a member of the Jinguji family. The loser is surprised to see another demon slayer beside him. Kyusu mocks Himari for being a cat and asks her to act like one. Kyusu tells Yuuto that he is the one she wants to fight instead of his cat girl. Yuuto tries to act like a gentleman again and tells Kyusu to not call every Ayakashi impure, as there are nice ones as well. Listening to his pathetic logic pains Kyusu. Hearing enough of this crap, Himari lunges towards Kyusu. She successfully dodges her attack and makes her way towards Yuuto. Strong winds create a barrier between Himari and Yuuto. Kyusu grabs Yuuto by his face and tells him to go with her as it is an order from his late grandfather. She reminds him that both their families have been connected and she is Yuuto's fiancé. Seeing how the tiny brain still doesn't remember anything, she kisses him. This kiss reminds him that the girl who kissed her in the past was no one other than Kyusu. The wind barrier breaks, and she kisses him once more in front of his bodyguard. Seeing them kiss makes Himari boil with jealousy. Before leaving, Kyusu tells Yuuto that she is staying at the Shin Takamiya hotel next to town and asks him to give her a visit whenever his little guy becomes excited. Kyusu warns him that if he doesn't give up being with an Ayakashi, some other demon slayer might come and eliminate her. On the other hand, Shizuku is having a discussion with the other Ayakashi who are telling her about Kyusu and how dangerous she could be. All of them are also wary of the nerd as he might awaken as a demon slayer sooner than expected. Shizuku reassures them and tells them that it won't be a problem as that losers don't have the courage to attack Ayakashi. She makes up her mind to take care of Kyusoo herself before the matter slips out of their hands. At home, the two of them couldn't remove the thought of that kiss from their minds. Himari is still thinking about how she has still not kissed the loser even once, and the claim of Kyusoo being Yuuto's fiancé is circling her mind. While on the other hand, Yuuto is still enjoying and replaying the moment of the kiss like a pathetic loner. Himari still doesn't understand the logic behind a kiss but wants to do it anyway. Kyusoo is on her way back to the hotel. A police chief is taking her home. He reassures her by telling her that all the police and other public security teams will not be interfering with her work and will try their best to cover up her actions. Kyusoo shows them her gratitude and orders them to just watch from the sidelines, as there is nothing they could do to help her anyway. On her way back, Kyusoo is talking to someone on the phone and giving her a report about everything she experienced. While she is telling the other person that they will be able to acquire the Amikawa family's powers, Shizuku's tentacle monster is following her. Kyusoo turns into a dark alley and Shizuku takes advantage of her mistake and attacks her. However, the tentacles have no effect on her. They both meet up on the roof, and before starting their fight, Shizuku realizes that there are bad demon slayers like Kyusoo that she must eliminate. She warns Kyusoo about getting close to Yuuto and gets ready to attack. It is a battle between Kyusoo's fire ability versus Shizuku's water ability. Both of them are able to attack and defend themselves using their abilities. The battle is still far from over. Shizuku's ability creates 3 water dragons. Kyusoo dodges them and comes straight for Shizuku, but she is able to defend herself. Unfortunately, Shizuku is not able to run away in time and gets hit by an attack, making her crash into a billboard. However, she comes out unscratched and mocks Kyusoo for being the weakest of the 12 families. Kyusoo becomes furious after hearing her claim and fires her ability using full force. Shizuku uses her own water ability to defend herself from the fire, resulting in a huge explosion. They both retreat afterward. Yuuto is still at his home chilling and watching TV. The news of the explosion is circulating on the news channels. The police were able to cover up for Kyusoo by stating that it was a gas explosion. Even after coming back home, Kyusoo still thinks about how Shizuku called him the weakest, which reminds her of all the hate she received when she was a child just because of her family. Himari is trying her best to sleep but can't, as the thoughts of kissing are keeping her awake. She wakes up and decides that she has to go for it. Yuuto is sitting in the lounge, drinking tea, when all of a sudden, Himari arrives and jumps on top of him. She tells him to kiss her, but seeing a beautiful girl say things like this makes the loser's mind completely blank. Himari tries to gaslight him by asking if he can't do it with an Ayakashi like her. She realizes that he is a loser and tries to leave, but Yuuto stops her. He is about to kiss her, thinking that it is a kiss on the cheeks. Suddenly the doorbell rings and Himari turns to look at Yuuto, but it is too late. Himari receives her first kiss and is overjoyed, while Yuuto is still contemplating the fact that he might not be a wimp after all. Rinko is at the door. She comes inside and witnesses Himari acting a lot differently and is overjoyed. On the other hand, Yuuto's allergies are starting to act up. Shizuku along with Rinko and Yuuto are at the cafe again. Shizuku tells them about the research she did on Kyusoo using a laptop. Yuuto and Rinko are surprised to see Shizuku using a laptop and praise her for getting better at it. Lizlet arrives with the drinks and gets scared after hearing about another demon slayer. She uses this opportunity to hug Yuuto but is taken away by the 2 other girls. Later, Rinko asks Yuuto about the relationship he has with Kyusoo. He shamelessly tells them that she is his fiancée, whom he doesn't even remember. Everyone is startled after hearing that a loser like him is able to get a fiancée. Shizuku tells him to forget about it, as it is a promise he made a long time ago. Rinko agrees and Lizlet brings him a jar with memory removing power, although it is empty. While everyone is panicking, Kyusoo arrives at the cafe. Seeing how they are stalking her on the laptop makes her uncomfortable. She praises Lizlet's tea and tells Yuuto to call her by her first name. Yuuto tries to reject her idea of getting married, but Kyusoo tells him that it is his duty to eliminate Ayakashi because he was born in the Amikawa family. Rinko tries to take his side, but Kyusoo simply shuts her down by mocking her for living an ordinary life with friends and family. Kyusoo tries to make him excited by hugging him, but her plans are completely destroyed by Himari. She tells her that Yuuto's grandfather probably didn't know what an arrogant lady his fiancé might become. Kyusoo tells Himari that they both are demon slayers and are more compatible than him with a cat girl. Himari tells everyone about how she forcefully kissed Yuuto 3 times, but also brags about how Yuuto kissed her last night. Everyone is shocked after hearing about it, but Kyusoo tries to gain the upper hand by mentioning the promise they made. However, seeing how Yuuto doesn't remember the promise, Kyusoo gets embarrassed and leaves. Kyusoo teleports on top of a bridge. She is on a call with her mother, who reassures her that she will make sure that both families join together. Suddenly she is attacked by an unknown force but defeats it easily. The next day, at school, Rinko is playing football and after remembering the talk about Yuuto's fiancé, she kicks the ball in Yuuto's face. Later, he wakes up in Himari's lap. She tells him that she has no say in whatever he decides and can't stop him even if he chooses Kyusoo instead of them. However, he tells Himari that her mindset is wrong and that not all Ayakashi are evil or deserve to be eliminated. She tells him that both Kyusoo's family and his family need a successor to keep the bloodline going or they might vanish out of existence. Thinking about the successor brings questionable thoughts to Yuuto's mind. Himari notices the creepy look appearing on his face and scolds him for having such thoughts again. Later, the football club members arrived and seemed angry at Yuuto for always flirting with girls like a simp. Himari decides to leave and tells Yuuto to head home on his own as she has some things to take care of. Shizuku comes to pick him up from school. While they were walking home, Himari went on her own to challenge Kyusoo. Before starting their fight, Himari asks Kyusoo if she loves Yuuto. She doesn't seem to have a reply and tells Himari that she always hated her since the time they all were little kids. The battle commences. Himari runs towards Kyusoo and makes the first attack, but Kyusoo manages to dodge it and praises her for being this fast. Before making the next attack, Himari asks Kyusoo what she feels when eliminating an Ayakashi, a sense of satisfaction or a sense of justice. Kyusoo tells her that rules don't matter to her, and she has been mocked all her life because of her family. The reason why she eliminates the Ayakashi is so she can become stronger, and those rules are meaningless for someone like her who lives on the edge of life and demise. Himari tells her that humans feel happiness with little things in life, all their friends, and their way of life is the reason she always wants to be a normal human. In the end, she asks Kyusoo if she can live with a human with such a fragile heart while she herself is superhuman. Kyusoo doesn't understand a word she says and baits Himari to attack her. Just as she gets close enough, Kyusoo reveals a gun she was hiding and starts shooting at her. Himari manages to dodge almost all of them and dashes towards her to make an attack. Kyusoo ignites the area where Himari is about to land, making her abandon her sword and save her life. The bullets are made from Kyusoo magic. Himari manages to dodge a few, but the last one grazes her body. The bullets have a special effect. It is a special bullet that Kyusoo made specially for the cat girl so she could bring the true monster inside her to the surface. Himari starts to lose control once again and becomes the uncontrollable person she was back in the village. Kyusoo enjoys seeing Himari struggle, but something is wrong. Himari tries her best and manages to control her rage when she starts to think about Yuuto. She finally manages to return to her true self and retreats instantly. After seeing her overcome her rage and leave, Kyusoo realizes that she is scared, and her hands are trembling. Back at home, Shizuku finally figures out that Himari has gone to fight Kyusoo all alone. Yuuto panics and tries to go out and help her. Just as he is about to go out, Himari returns home and is in a brutal condition. Yuuto takes Himari to bed and is waiting for her to wake up. He watches her sleep while contemplating the fact that he is always useless and relies on others to help him. While Rinko is also thinking about everything that happened today. She realizes that if Yuuto wants a normal life, then she is the most normal person around him, and she needs to be there for him. Kyusoo returns back to her hotel and apologizes to the police chief for causing another commotion because of her fights. The chief tries to ask her how many bullets she fired during her fight. She tells him that she fired a total of 18 bullets, making the chief worried. After a while, Himari wakes up and is embarrassed for losing to Kyusoo. After telling Yuuto how ashamed she is after running away from the enemy, she requests Yuuto to bring her back. Inside the bag is a pill that will remove all the Kyusoo's magic that is still present inside her. Himari tells Yuuto that she will most likely go insane for a while and asks him to leave the room. However, he tries to act tough and decides to stay in the room. Himari takes the pill and suddenly starts acting like a cat. The cat girl jumps on top of Yuuto and goes out of control. Yuuto somehow manages to keep her under control. The next day, he wakes up and notices that Himari is back to her normal form. She thanks Yuuto for keeping her under control and stopping her from doing anything dangerous. Yuuto orders her not to do anything reckless ever again and definitely not to put her life in danger. The gentleman's act of Yuuto touches her heart, and she decides to give him a kiss as a thank you present. A little while later, Yuuto is on his way to the hotel to meet Kyusoo. On the other hand, Himari orders a new sword from the village to replace the one she lost during the battle. A girl brought the names of all the swords available and offered to show them to her as well. However, Himari is confused as the girl is empty-handed. The girl tells her that she is a demon and that all the swords are stored in her stomach. She throws up, taking out all the swords from her stomach for Himari to analyze. While Yuuto is busy asking for Kyusoo's room number from the reception, the police chief places a tapping device on his shirt so he can eavesdrop on their conversation. He finally enters Kyusoo's room and is surprised to see such a luxurious room. Kyusoo tells him that most of the furniture was her own belongings, and she also remodeled the whole room. The loser is surprised seeing something this fancy for the first time. Kyusu takes his phone from him to check his browsing history and also breaks the tapping device the chief fitted on his shirt earlier. Yuuto confronts Kyusu for trying to make Himari go insane, but she simply dodges the question by informing him that Himari was the one who started it first. Yuuto is not playing around, as he without a second thought tells Kyusu that she wants to destroy the life he is enjoying with the Ayakashi, letting her know that they both are different and can never be comrades. Yuuto has heard everything from Shizuku about how the Jinguji family needs the Amikawa family to revive themselves, and it is the only reason she wants to be with Yuuto. He clearly tells her that he has no intention of making her wish come true or becoming her husband. Kyusu gets furious and pulls out a knife. Kyusu goes insane and starts attacking Yuuto with a knife. Just as she is about to make the final attack, Yuuto's power repels her, making her fall down the building. While she is falling down, Yuuto remembers a childhood memory where he was the one suggesting to work together and promising to always protect her. The loser thought that she really fell down the building and started crying, blaming his childhood version for being the one most excited to become a demon slayer. Kyusu flies back to the room and tells Yuuto that his promise was the only thing that kept her going even when she was about to lose a battle or even her life. She blames him for being weak and not being able to protect her like he promised. They both sit opposite each other, and Kyusu reminds him about all the things he agreed to do if he ever broke their promise. She tells him that the only reason she never eliminated the cat girl or the water girl was because she could have become his enemy. Yuuto still is scared regarding her attempt to eliminate him, but she comforts him and tells him that she did it only so his powers could come out. Kyusu promises not to hurt his friends and reveals that she is aware of how he looks at the cat girl with creepy eyes. Kyusu seems sure that she is better than his other friends and that the loser will one day come to appreciate her beauty and fall for her. In the end, Kyusu gives him permission to do all the Riz things he wants with her instead of the other Ayakashis. Concurrently, Himari arrives in the hotel room and hears Kyusu calling Yuuto by a nickname. She mocks Kyusu for saying all those embarrassing things and informs her that she could never beat her. Kyusu gets furious and wants to start a fight right now. Luckily, Himari brought the sword-delivering lady with her and made her vomit to showcase all the swords. Later, the teacher brought all her students to a park as the school was holding an outdoor sketch day. The students get a free hand to draw whatever they want. Teizo asks Himari to be his model when in reality, all he wants is to stare at her. However, Himari declines and tells him that Yuuto is the only one allowed to lay eyes on her. Teizo gets jealous and decides to leave. Seeing a cell phone camera in Himari's hands confuses Rinko, and she asks the reason behind it. Himari tells her that she can always store and watch the moments of her life whenever she wants. Afterward, it is time for Yuuto to draw, and Himari asks him the kind of model he wants. She slowly starts taking off her clothes and making different poses. In the end, the cat girl becomes fully commando to pose as a model. Yuuto loses her mind and wanders off to chill out his little guy. Rinko starts to take off her clothes as well, and both the girls start doing sus things while the boy sneaks away. The other students are trying to draw a water fountain while Teizo wants to draw something that will make him feel excited. Suddenly, a drenched Shizuku appears from the water fountain, making all the cultured boys act up. The chief is in a forest and there are a lot of Ayakashi bodies scattered around. He calls Kyusu to give his report. According to the chief, it doesn't seem like the work of a human being and is most likely an Ayakashi targeting other Ayakashis. Kyusu realizes the dangers ahead and contemplates whether she should help Yuuto awaken his powers a little more. Rinko and Himari are trying to find Yuuto. Out of nowhere, Sasa appears and sits on top of Rinko. On the other hand, Yuuto is taken away by Ajaha. He tries to question Ajaha's intentions, but she doesn't reply and tries getting close to him. She asks if he has done any stuff with Himari, and she remembers all the things he had done to her. Ajaha tries doing the same things with him and asks him to not complain as he does the same things with the cat. Later, she uses her ability to make Yuuto unconscious and starts to suck his blood like a vampire. All the boys are enjoying having Shizuku as a model and giving it their best. Himari runs into Shizuku and takes her away from all the cultured boys. Shizuku seems mad at Himari for letting Yuuto away from her sight. Suddenly, Rinko arrives carrying Sasa on her back. Sasa tells the others that Yuuto is with Ajaha and that she won't be hurting him in any way. She is enjoying sucking Yuuto's blood. But Himari and the others arrive. Ajaha knows her strength and decides to run away for the time being. Ajaha tells them about the Ayakashi in the west that are being attacked and wiped out by another Ayakashi. Out of nowhere, the chief arrives and asks Yuuto to have a talk. All of them go to the cafe where Lizlet works. He introduces himself as someone who works under an organization with main job of exterminating the Ayakashi. All the security forces and even the government don't mess with them. However, the chief tells them that he wouldn't have come alone if his intentions were to hurt him. He is surprised to see many Ayakashi gathered in a single place. He continues to inform them about the Ayakashi who has been troublesome lately. Everyone is surprised after hearing that such an Ayakashi exists and is willing to hurt his own kind. Ajaha tells the others that the only reason she sucked on Yuuto's blood was so he could be a little more powerful in case Ayakashi attacks him. In the end, the chief asks the loser to cooperate with them and help them take care of Ayakashi. He tries to reject his offer by telling him that he still is a newbie who doesn't know much about being a demon slayer. The chief tries to manipulate him by telling him that if he doesn't act right now, his friends might be in danger. Luckily, Himari is present and tells Yuuto that he should do whatever he pleases. Suddenly, a portal opens and an Ayakashi appears inside the cafe. Everyone soon realizes that it is the rumored Ayakashi, Tamamo Nomi, who has been going around hunting Ayakashi with her partner Shuten Daoji. Himari tries to attack Shuten but is thrown back. Everyone else tries attacking Tamamo but fails. Himari picks up a weapon and attacks Tamamo, but the weapons end up breaking. Himari tries to protect Yuuto, but Shizuku realizes her intentions and tells Himari that she is after her and not Yuuto. Tamamo pins Himari down and starts sucking blood. Fortunately, Kyusu arrives at the perfect time and is surprised to see the chief acting on his own. Shizuku notices that the two Ayakashi in front of them are two of the three most powerful ones. Kyusu tries to attack them but they both simply retreat, after telling Himari that her blood doesn't taste good. Before leaving, Shuten tells the others that even though he is able to awaken in this world with Tamamo's powers, he still needs a lot of power to be as powerful as his former self. Kaya is present at her home in the village when Shizuku arrives and tells her to come with them. On the other hand, the chief is meeting with Shuten and Tamamo on his own, trying to get some advice from them. The sword-dealing Ayakashi arrives and tells them about how there has been Ayakashi responsible for different important factors getting eliminated. Their elimination causes an imbalance in human lives as in some regions, though humans still have very good relationships with Ayakashi. Ajaha is still shocked to see an Ayakashi that devours other Ayakashi. Lizlet tries to compare Ajaha with her, due to her blood-sucking ability, but she quickly refuses, as she never eliminates her target. Sasa gives an idea to lure her using fox treats, but everyone feels sorry for her little brain. Kyusu informs everyone that if she and Yuuto were able to work together, they could easily take on the strongest Ayakashi. Even though Kyusu doesn't want to be with the other Ayakashi, she uses this opportunity to get closer to Yuuto and eventually turn him into a full-fledged demon slayer. While Rinko goes out to do some shopping, all the other girls decide to bring out Yuuto's hidden abilities. They all try different cosplays to try and awaken his abilities, but the only thing that awakens is his little Excalibur. Himari comes out dressed as a huge cat. All of them start hugging him as an excuse to bring out his abilities. Rinko comes back and is startled after seeing what's going on. She brings Yuuto shopping with her, so the girls don't do anything questionable with him again. While Rinko and Yuuto pick curry as tonight's dinner, Himari tries out different swords. However, none of them feel right like her last katana used to. Kyusu gives Himari her old katana, but the sword-dealing Ayakashi tells her that there is no way to fix a sword this damaged. Sasa arrives and asks Himari to let her take a look. Ajaha informs the others that Sasa is a blacksmith Ayakashi. She uses her ability, and the sword is as good as new, although the people around her are not. On their way back home, Yuuto and Rinko sit on a bench and enjoy meat buns. The nerd still feels confused as to whether they can fix this current issue by talking to the Ayakashi. He knows that the last time he tried talking to them, Himari ended up getting injured. Shizuku arrives and tells them that Tamamo and Shuten were once defeated by the humans a long time ago. The humans split their bodies and sealed them in various regions of Japan. Now in the present day, Tamamo devours other Ayakashi to increase her own powers. If her power increases, she can eventually fully revive Shuten, as her powers are essential to his revival. Shizuku also warns Yuuto and tells him that they also bear a grudge against human beings, and once he gets fully revived, he will surely come after the demon slayers as well. At night, Yuuto gathers everyone and tells them that he doesn't believe Tamamo and Shuten to be the kind of Ayakashi that will listen to him. He makes up his mind to fight with the others and make sure these two Ayakashi are defeated so no other Ayakashi or human has to suffer. Kyusu, Suzu, Aja, and Lizlet all join hands and promise to work together and defeat the other two Ayakashi. The chief calls Kyusu and asks if she is able to retrieve any information. Kyusu scolds him for going behind her back and meeting Yuuto, but forgives him as it gives her a chance to meet him as well. She promises to contact if anything new comes out and hangs up the phone. Later, Shuten and Tamamo meet up with the chief. Chief wants the extermination of the Ayakashi while they want to devour the Ayakashi to strengthen themselves. They both start working together as their goals align. Rinko cooks curry for everyone. Sasa is about to eat curry roux, thinking it's chocolate, but Rinko stops her. Surprisingly, Himari also came to the kitchen and helped for the first time. As expected, she cuts her own finger and Yuuto puts a band-aid on the wound. Himari tells Yuuto to lick her wound as it will make it heal faster. Yuuto becomes all serious, not knowing that she is just joking. Himari begins to act weirdly and asks Yuuto to listen to her heartbeat. Later, everyone enjoys eating the curry that Rinko made except for Kyusu, who doesn't like the taste of low-class food. Himari gets up and leaves without eating anything. She takes a good look at Yuuto and returns to her room. After dressing up, the cat girl decided to go out on her own and fight the two strongest Ayakashi alone. As she is about to leave, Yuuto comes in front of her and stops her. Yuuto asks her where she is going this late at night and reminds her how he told her never to do reckless things again. He scolds Himari and shouts at her for wanting to sacrifice herself for a good-for-nothing boy. However, she is not backing down easily. Himari tells him that everything will be alright. If he and Kyusu can work together, they can still defeat them, and her life doesn't matter right now. He tells Himari that she is his bodyguard, and a bodyguard cannot be separated from his master. They both become emotional and Himari hugs Yuuto. She apologizes and both of them are about to kiss but are stopped by Kyusu, who is stalking them from the top of a light pole. She mocks Himari for being a tool who doesn't need to do any stuff with her master. Himari reminds her about the power of love she witnessed that Yuuto has towards her. Kyusu mocks her again, saying that all she heard was him calling her a bodyguard and that she shouldn't be this much misunderstood. Both of them start arguing with each other while Yuuto tries to break the fight. All the other girls arrive as well and confront them for running away on their own. Yuuto is practicing how to use a sword with Himari but gets beaten like a pathetic loser each time. Shizuku tells them that it won't work like this, as in order to awaken his power, Yuuto needs concentration and imagination more than brute strength or skills. However, Yuuto can't awaken the power on his own, and it only manifests automatically when Yuuto is in a dangerous situation. They need to figure out Yuuto's power quickly, as the enemies might make a move anytime now. Kaya suggests putting the loser in a life-threatening situation so his powers can awaken. Later, Rinko comes up with a great idea to take Yuuto to his hometown, as it might have some hints about how to awaken his powers. While Tamamo and Shuten are chilling by the pool, the chief arrives and informs them that the Ayakashi have decided to fight the two of them. Before leaving, the chief reminds them about the no eliminating human rule they agreed upon. Afterward, Shuten snapped his fingers, allowing his energy to escape and envelop the whole town. Yuuto and the others also notice the weird sensation and realize that the strong demonic energy belongs to Shuten. His demon energy makes all the humans in the area disappear, eventually making a battleground for them to fight without worrying about harming humans. They follow his demonic energy and are confused as to why Shuten is working to protect humans when he holds a grudge against them. Fortunately, this is beneficial for the other Ayakashi, as well as they can now fight using their full strengths. All the humans disappeared except for Rinko, who is still present with the others. Suddenly, Tamamo appears, and everyone gets ready to fight her. Rinko and Lizlet start panicking and crying. Yuuto asks Kaya to take them away and protect them until the battle is over. Kyusu asks Yuuto to watch her back while she attacks. Without giving it a second thought, Himari rushes in and attacks Tamamo on her own. However, she gets overpowered and is thrown away. Kyusu uses her wind ability to completely block Tamamo's vision, allowing Shizuku to attack her using ice blades. Tamamo releases an attack of her own, destroying both of their abilities and hitting the two of them. Next up, Sasa and Aja try to take her on. Sasa uses tree trunks to attack her, but all of them are deflected, damaging the surrounding buildings. Aja uses her stretchy hands to catch Tamamo, but ends up wrapping them around the tree trunks, looking like a complete idiot. Himari tries to attack once more, and this time, Tamamo throws a bus at her, making a direct hit and crashing into the building behind her. The chief seems glad how things are looking and happy that he got to make a contract with Shuten. However, Shuten has other plans. He calls the chief an idiot as someone who holds a grudge against the humans. He will never work with them on anything. He is just using the chief until it is beneficial for him. Tamamo realizes that Himari is still not using her rage mode and won't taste good otherwise. To make her angry, she starts attacking all the other Ayakashis. Himari tries to protect them, but her attacks are of no use. Seeing how everyone is helpless, the geek tries to attack her using a wooden sword like an idiot. He gets thrown away as well. Tamamo goes towards Yuuto and starts strangling him. Himari gets furious and turns into an angry cat girl. Tamamo seems glad that she transformed and is about to drink her blood, but Yuuto tells her not to lose herself, allowing Himari to return to her normal self. Tamamo lets him go and all of them instantly retrieve. They listened to Rinko's advice and went to the village. Everyone is getting treated after the injuries they got fighting them. Yuuto arrives and finds a bunch of books lying around. Rinko tells him that these books might have hints about his ability and how to awaken it. Kyusu admits as well that they need Yuuto's power, or they will keep on losing. Shizuku tells her that she already has checked all the books, but Kyusu forces everyone to read them and find whatever clues they can. Even though Kyusu herself declines to read any of the books, Yuuto realizes how helpless he is and is the one who starts reading the books first. Himari is sitting on the rooftop contemplating the fact that all of her village will be destroyed because of their fight and the childhood memories will be lost. Rinko notices her and calls her to help with reading the books. Himari asks if Rinko wants Yuuto to fight similar to how Kyusu wants to fight alongside him. Rinko tells her that all Yuuto wants is to live a normal life and he will be returning back to living normally once this fight is over. Himari agrees with her and leaves after telling Rinko to take care of Yuuto if something happens to her. While on the other hand, the chief calls Kyusu and gives her a little warning. He tells her that he is also present at the village and gives her one last chance to join him. Kyusu realizes that the traitor is working with Tamamo and Shuten. He tells her to join him if she wants to live and hangs up the call. Himari is walking around the forest, thinking about all their childhood memories. Eventually, she reaches the lake and finds Tamamo flying. Shuten is also present, and he releases his demonic energy, turning the clouds into a darker shade. She tries to attack Tamamo again and again but keeps on getting overpowered and thrown away. Shuten tells her that she won't be able to do any sort of damage with her current abilities, and that the only way for her to win is by turning into a rage monster and using all her powers. In reality, Shuten only wants her to transform so that Tamamo can enjoy drinking her blood and become even more powerful. He thinks that Tamamo can always defeat Himari even in her transformed state. Having no other choice, she apologizes to Yuuto and finally transforms into her insane state. This time, she has completely lost her sane side and given everything to the other side in order to attain more strength and eventually win the fight. Himari has gone completely insane and completely lost herself. She goes out of control, even disrupting the wind around her. Without thinking twice, she went straight for Tamamo. On the other hand, they all are in the village house, taking care of Sasa, who is still in bed after getting injured during the fight. Their fight causes an earthquake, which is felt by everyone at the house. Yuuto quickly recognizes the situation and asks for Himari. Rinko, being the last person Himari talked to, remembers how she told her to take care of Yuuto if anything happened to her. Himari is now able to hold her own against Tamamo. Even though she is not winning or overpowering her, she still is giving Tamamo a good fight. Tamamo grabs Himari's head and throws her on the ground. Slowly, Himari keeps on losing herself and transforms more and more into something inhumane. After throwing her on the ground, Tamamo rains down energy balls on her. Himari seems unscratched even after her attack, and her hair starts to turn white. At this point, she has completed the whole transformation and has no other thoughts but to eliminate the person in front of her. Shuten arrives at the scene and is glad to see how much Himari transformed. It is better for Tamamo to drink blood from someone like her, which might result in Tamamo getting more energy and strength than usual. Tamamo doesn't hold back anymore and goes straight for her, taking any chance she gets to bite her. Simultaneously, Yuuto and the others also arrive at the scene, and all are shocked to see Himari's new form. Yuuto tries to go and help Himari, but Kyusu stops him, telling him that it is too dangerous for a weakling like him to go. Himari uses her claws to cut her, however, Tamamo gets serious. Tamamo reveals her foxtails, giving her more power than usual. Shuten also arrives near Ayakashi. Yuuto tries to confront him, but he tells Yuuto that all Himari is doing is protecting him. She has given into the darkness in her heart to achieve the power necessary to protect her master. He also informs them that he wants Himari to use that power so they can make use of it. Everyone is shocked after hearing it, and Yuuto starts blaming himself for everything that happened to Himari. Kyusu gets ready to attack Shuten, but before her, Rinko moves forward. She starts shouting at Shuten, telling him that Himari isn't doing this much for Yuuto just because of an oath or because he is her master. The real reason is that she truly cares for him and wants to protect him. In the end, she mocks Shuten for not understanding something so simple. Tamamo finally transforms into a nine-tailed fox. The fox bites Himari, not allowing her to move. However, Himari still doesn't give up and manages to get out of its mouth. Afterward, she attacks the fox, making it crash into a mountain and go down, not able to fight anymore. Shuten couldn't believe his eyes. Rinko starts making fun of him for being all talk. Yuuto jumps down and starts running towards Himari. The loser stops when he realizes that Himari has completely lost it. She dashes in to attack Yuuto, but Kyusu saves him at the last second. Himari starts shouting and her power level increases even more. Shizuku tries attacking her but gets knocked out. Kyusu manages to land an attack but gets caught up in hers as well. Everyone present on the battlefield gets attacked by Himari except Yuuto. Shuten seems impressed seeing how powerful Himari has become and wants to use her to make his wish come true instead of Tamamo. The chief suddenly arrives and tells him to take care of the cat who is causing trouble, as if this keeps on going, other humans might get targeted as well. Shuten attacks the weakling and tells him that he is only using him. Seeing how insane Himari has become, he accepts the fact that Himari might be able to take his revenge and eliminate all the humans. Yuuto, being the only one on the battlefield with Himari, decides to pick up a sword and remembers Shizuku's words regarding how Ayakashi was eliminated after it lost itself. He realizes his duty and tells Himari that he might have to put an end to her himself. He remembers all the time he spent together with Himari and slowly moves towards her with a sword in his hand. Himari dashes towards him while everyone watches in anticipation. At the last moment, Yuuto throws his sword and hugs Himari. He tells her that he still needs her in his life and there is no way he can eliminate her with his own hands. His words bring Himari from the depth of darkness, and Himari finally transforms into her original self. Seeing how his last plan also failed makes Shuten furious, and he decides to arrive on the battlefield himself. Yuuto's ability starts manifesting, and it is absorbed by Himari's sword, making it light up and insanely powerful. His change of heart activated the light fairy magic. Afterward, he gives the sword to Himari so she can finish everything. Shuten becomes even more angry after seeing the light fairy magic and transforms into a giant demon. Himari also transforms, and her clothes are replaced with different ones at the moment she handles the sword. Everyone is impressed to see Yuuto and Himari working together to defeat Shuten. The demon seems confident that he can defeat a cat who relies on human powers easily, but this is not what is going to happen. Yuuto's incredible magic mixed with Himari's sword skills made her a very powerful warrior who can't be defeated easily. In the first attack, Himari cuts the demon's arm. The demon keeps on attacking, but Himari manages to dodge each and every one of them. Eventually, she makes the last attack, which cuts Shuten in half, resulting in the end of the battle with Himari emerging as the victor. Tamamo wakes up but quickly faints again after saying that she is hungry. Afterward, everyone congratulates Himari and Yuuto and praises them for using a power derived from humans and Ayakashi working together. Maya tells the loser to be grateful to her as she is the one who protected him from all the trouble by putting herself in danger. After the fight is over, everyone begins to walk back home, but Himari tells them that she won't be going with them. Everyone seems confused and asks her the reason. Himari tells them that she has fulfilled her duty of protecting Yuuto from all the dangers, and now that his ability has awakened, there is no need for her to protect him anymore. Kyusu agrees with Himari and asks Yuuto to fix her clothes using his ability. However, he tries to use the light fairy once again, but this time, nothing happens. Even after trying and doing the same thing he did in battle, everyone is surprised and tries to check the problem. However, after a while, they all return home along with Himari and Kaya. Rinko asks the reason why the light fairy stopped working randomly. Shizuku tells her that it seemed like his powers were only awakened for a temporary period of time because his desire to protect someone peaked at that certain moment. Himari teases him and tells him that he doesn't want her to leave and is purposefully not using his powers so that Himari can stay longer with her. Rinko gets suspicious and asks him, but he refuses. Later, the bell rings and Yuuto goes to open the door. His teacher alongside the class president and Teizo came to check on him as he was not picking up their calls. Slowly, all the girls start peeking to see who is at the door. Seeing this many girls makes all three of them mad and misunderstand everything. Teizo gets furious at him for living with this many girls while his best friend is struggling. Thanks for watching till this long, my fellow men of culture. Don't forget to tell us about your favorite waifu from this anime and subscribe to the channel for more content.